Thank you all very much for coming out on this rainy San Francisco day to help us celebrate a landmark project for the people of this city. My name is Ed Riskin. I'm the Transportation Director here in San Francisco, and really glad to be able to be here today to celebrate long-planned improvements for one of the most important corridors in our city. It was more than 30 years ago that some folks were looking at our city and thinking about the future of it, and back then identified the Geary corridor as one of the most important corridors for transit in our city, looking forward into the future. And they were right, because fast forward 3 decades later, the Geary corridor is one of the highest, if not the highest, bus ridership transit corridor in the western United States. It's it's pretty impressive. It's alone, if the Geary corridor were its own transit system, it'd be among the larger transit systems in the Bay Area. So the folks had it right back then when they recognized the importance of Geary to the transportation system in San Francisco. So fast forward to today, recognizing that, we at the SFMTA have been making improvements over the years within the constraints of the street as it is, to try to add more service, to try to improve the service. But the project that we're breaking ground on today really takes that a quantum step forward in terms of not just making improvements to Muni, but also upgrading the infrastructure, modernizing the infrastructure, and making the street safer, which is really pulling together a number of different city priorities and bundling them into one project here that we're breaking ground on today. That kind of project, hitting that many city policy goals, doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of work from a lot of people, a lot of partnership and leadership from our community partners. So I want to thank the many, many folks from the community, and you'll be hearing some representatives from them speaking today. But it also takes policy and political leadership. So I want to acknowledge the SFMTA Board of Directors, our Chair Heineke and Director Torres. Our Torres are here. It takes leadership from the Board of Supervisors, who also sits as the Transportation Authority Commission, and we have Supervisor Valley Brown here representing this district. But above all, it takes leadership from the top. And from her, the time she came into elective office, 3 priorities of the mayor has been upgrading our infrastructure, been improving Muni, and making our streets safer. And this project meets the mark on all 3 of those, and we wouldn't be here without the leadership of our mayor. So please join me in welcoming Mayor Breed.
Hello, everyone. It's an exciting day to be here. Every time I come to the neighborhood, I think about my childhood, and I actually grew up right down the street. And we used to take certain routes when we were kids. We would hang out. I mean, I went to Rosa Parks Elementary School, but we would hang out and jump the fence and play in the playgrounds. Then we would walk across Gary Boulevard, and we would not necessarily walk across the lights. I think the video game Frogger was probably designed because we would leapfrog through the streets, which were not definitely safe as kids. And that's why this project is really so important. We would head over to Japantown and hang out at Japantown Bowl. And back then, you know, times were a lot different. We had fun as kids, but we got into probably some trouble here and there by crossing the streets when we shouldn't have, and we want to really focus our attention on trying to make San Francisco a better, more safe place and make our public transportation system a lot more reliable than it had been in the past. I think about, you know, just what we've been able to accomplish in this community, you know, a lot of great improvements in our public transportation system. In fact, when I served on the Board of Supervisors, because there was a Geary Limited, which is now the Geary Rapid, I didn't understand why the 31 and the 5 Fulton and all of these other buses that came between the south and, the west side and the east side of the city, why we weren't thinking about improving our public transportation system and providing more rapid buses. And so we added the 5R. So thank you to SFMTA, because that's been really a great addition to our public transportation system. But I also think about, just the past, right? And the fact that if we had built all of our systems underground, where would we be today? It would be an amazing city with even more reliable transportation, but also safer transportation. This project today, as we break ground on what I think is going to make such a significant impact on this community, but also folks who live in the west side of the city, people who rely on the 38 Geary, whether it's the rapid or the regular 38 Geary, to get to school, to get to work, to shop, and to do the kinds of things that so many people want to do on our public transportation system. Providing the Geary BRT is really going to provide what I think is going to change how people are getting around, making it a lot more efficient, and making our public transportation system much more reliable than it had been in the past. And that's what this project is about. It's also about safety and improving access to our public transportation system for people who are seniors and those with disabilities. I know that this community wanted to save the Laguna Street stop because we know we have a lot of seniors who rely on that stop. And going up and down the hills are not necessarily an easy thing as you get older, and we were able to do that because of this community. We also know that the Laguna Street, the Webster Street Bridge is something that was important to this community, and important in particular to Rosa Parks Elementary School. And so because of the advocacy throughout this project, we've been able to do things by listening to the community and making sure that your voices were heard as we move forward to improve public transportation here in San Francisco for all residents. And so I'm excited to be here today because this is a long time coming. Yes, when we did the Central Subway and we visited this, there was this big machine called Big Bertha, and we got a chance during that groundbreaking to write messages on Big Bertha, what do you call it, the thing, tunnel what? The tunnel boring machine, the thing that's driving the hole underneath the ground. And I wrote on Big Bertha, "See you on Geary Boulevard." Well, my dream project is to basically go underground on Geary Boulevard, but as you know, the money is not there to necessarily do that, but we're doing the next best thing. We're providing bus rapid transit service for Geary Boulevard with the sole purpose of improving our public transportation system on one of the most busiest lines in our city. This is going to have significant impacts, and I'm excited, and I know it's going to be really a challenge because congestion is a problem in San Francisco. People are frustrated. There's a lot of construction that's happening. And what I want people to know is I get that we have challenges, and we're going to be doing some short-term and long-term fixes to address those challenges. But just imagine if before any of us was born, some of our leaders made the decision to go underground back then, and were inconvenienced at that time, how we would be dealing with a better public transportation system now. We are going to have to make sacrifices so that we can improve public transportation for future generations. That's what today is about, improving our system for the future so that the future generation of San Franciscans are not pointing the finger at us and blaming us for not doing the right thing and making our system better for all of us. I also want to take this opportunity to talk just a little bit about safety and safety on our streets because we know sadly, more recently, there have been a number of fatalities that have happened because of collisions. And part of what we need to do, yes, is improve our public transportation system, but more importantly, improve our infrastructure so that people are safe on our streets. And also, one of the things that I am pushing for is to make sure that our police department, they're issuing more citations for those drivers who are basically creating a bit of a nuisance on our streets, the people who are driving too fast, and that is just really a problem. Now, I know none of us want to get a ticket, so I want you all to slow down, and I want you all to be careful out there. People are riding bikes, people are walking, seniors are trying to get across the street and may not make it across by the time the light changes. We have to do better as a city of protecting our residents, and that means making improvements to our infrastructure and holding people accountable who are out there creating challenges on the roads. Not an easy thing to do, but a necessary thing to do as we improve our infrastructure. And I know congestion is frustrating. I know people want to get from point A to point B, but I ask that you be patient with us. I ask that you slow down. And I ask that you continue to support these amazing projects that are going to make public transportation better, it's going to make our city better, and it's going to also make our city safer in the long run. And with that, I want to introduce someone who has had an important role in helping me when I was on the Board of Supervisors. We were able to secure funding for this project. We were able to, as I said, save the Webster Street Bridge, and we were able to save the Laguna Street stop, and someone who's played a critical role in supporting this community and all of the challenges that it faced in the past and will continue to face in the future is your supervisor, Valley Brown.
I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I also would like to thank the Rosa Park Elementary School. Mayor Breed, you missed their performance, and that would have been your favorite part of this. I know. That was an amazing. I usually don't quote famous figures, but I think Mark Twain has a good quote for this particular day. Good things come to those who wait if you don't die in the meantime. And I think a lot of us have a few gray hair since Prop K passed in 2003 for the BRT, the Geary BRT. But here we are, and I'm really excited about this, and I'm really excited to look around the room and see so many people that were part of this process. And I know I've talked to a few of you, and do y'all remember the meetings that we would have year after year, and they'd be up in the cathedral. And I think someone reminded me one meeting, community meeting, someone stole the comment box. So yes, so this has been a journey. But I'm very excited about this project. You know, the Geary BRT has 54,000 riders a day. So if we're able to save 2 minutes of every San Francisco, of every ride, that's 18,000 hours a week. That is 75 days a year that we save San Franciscans. That's pretty amazing. If it also with the pedestrian, and this is something that Mayor Breed and I have dealt with for years, the safety of the Geary Boulevard through Van Ness, through Stanyon. And I know she had talked about it. But there has been tragedies. People have been hit and killed there. And it's something that we've looked at, everybody has looked at how to make this safer. The Geary Boulevard has 8 times as many collisions as anywhere else in the city. And that's disturbing when you think about that. So what is exciting about the Geary BRT is that actually we'll be working on pedestrian safety, and just adjacent here to Japantown. It's going to be happening, and that's exciting, and so many of you in this room has been fighting for this for years. And it also is going to bridge the community back together from with Japantown and the Western Addition that was separated by this huge busy freeway by redevelopment, and something that we're going to make good to bring those communities back closer together with this kind of pedestrian safety. So I wanted to thank everyone for coming, and I want to thank SFMTA and all their great staff that has put up with all of us through these years. And I say let's get it started, and I think this is the groundbreaking. I'm not really sure, or we're planting something, not really sure. Either way, thank you everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Malcolm Heineke. I am the chair of the SFMTA board. It's very nice to be in this building, not yelling at my daughter to dribble more with her left hand. So thank you all for indulging that. And thanks to the Rosa Parks School. It's wonderful to have a school right here, obviously named after a pioneer in our country's history associated with transit. My fellow director on the board, Art Torres, is here. You may remember Art as a state senator, chair of the Democratic Party, also a fellow churchgoer with Rosa Parks. He has wonderful stories about her, so thank you for being here, Art. And I think it's pretty cool that we have our own pioneer from the neighborhood here today as our mayor. So, Mayor Breed, it's really a privilege to call you our mayor. So, in addition to being nice to the mayor, what qualifies me to be the chair of the SFMTA, she didn't appoint me, but I really just respect her in her own right, of course, is that I ride the system every day. It is my primary form of transportation. I get to work, I get to the gym, I get to my children's events on Muni. And I live in a part of town where I can use the underground. I ride the metro every day, and it's fantastic. When it works, which is most of the time, and we're trying to get it even more of the time, I have a 10-minute commute free of obstruction, and I feel like a real San Franciscan. I'm not polluting the air, I'm not congesting the streets, and I'm taking what frankly is the most efficient route for me. I want that experience for all San Franciscans. And here on Geary Street, as the supervisor mentioned, we have 54,000 customers a day. 54,000 customers who don't have the free unobstructed ride that I do, at least not now. Mayor Breed is exactly right. We could have made choices earlier, but going back in history doesn't help us. Making the right choices now helps us. And so with Mayor Breed's leadership and with the leadership of my fellow directors, I'm thrilled that we're delivering a project that will be, as I have said many times before, the above-ground subway for our residents in the served communities. This above-ground subway will provide efficient service, and hopefully folks who ride this will have the same feeling I have about my commute. It is the most efficient and attractive way to go. That's how we reduce congestion, that's how we will reduce pollution, that's how we will reduce accidents. Now, this isn't just a transit efficiency project. This is a very significant and broad project that, as Director Riskin said, will increase pedestrian safety, increase cyclist access, and of course make the overall system work much better. So I am very proud to be here as we move around some dirt in planters to signify the opening of this project, which is really just going to be fantastic and serve these customers so well. And one of the things I get to do here, I have the privilege of introducing Director Nuru to you all. This is a partnership. SFMTA works not only with the Mayor's office, but with our partners in other departments, including the Department of Public Works, to bring all of these projects together. And we're so grateful for that partnership over the years. And I will say personally, I've been doing this now for 12 and a half years. I'm grateful for all the support you have shown our agency over the years. Please come celebrate with us.
Thank you, Director Heineke. Thank you, Mayor Breed. Thank you, Director Riskin. I want to begin by just taking this opportunity to reiterate our commitment from San Francisco Public Works to the city's Vision Zero goal of making the streets safer for all users, whether you're driving, you're biking, or you're on transit. Every traffic fatality here in our city is heartbreaking. And when we lose someone, whether it's a neighbor or a classmate or someone, these are situations that, frankly, are unacceptable and preventable. And so I'm excited about the improvements that are coming to Geary Boulevard. And as the population in our city continues to climb, our city is getting more congested, and we have to double down on our efforts to make our streets much safer and improve the transportation infrastructure. And one of the exciting parts for us is, while we are improving the transportation infrastructure, we're actually going to be improving and replacing many of the sewer and water lines along Geary, which will be ensuring to the businesses and the residents that you will continue to have quality service for your utilities. The Geary BRT project brings a long time, much needed enhancements, as we heard from many of our speakers, improving safer crossings, making visibility between motorists and pedestrians, and actually slowing traffic down on one of our busiest corridors, which is something that our city really needs. We'll also be repaving a significant part of Geary so that people who drive will have a much smoother and safer experience while they're driving on Geary Boulevard. This project is a major undertaking, and we heard there are many agencies involved, but also a huge partnership with the communities that have been involved in bringing the project to fruition. And at this time, I would ask Tilly Chang from the Transportation Authority, who has been a major partner, to say a few words. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mohammed, and Mayor Breed, Chair Heineke, and Director Torres, and honored guests. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm delighted on behalf of the Transportation Authority to congratulate the SFMTA and our partner agencies on this very happy day, and the entire community, really, for this collaborative effort. As Mayor Breed mentioned, this has been a long time coming, and Ed as well, recognizing that the plans began well over 30 years ago as far as the vision for this area. This Muni vision was expressed as early as in the 2000 vision plan, carried forward in our first countywide transportation plan in 2003, and then approved by voters as a priority for investment through our Prop K expenditure plan. Because we all recognize the need to, as Supervisor Brown said, and bring that community sort of back together and heal the division that had been created through the development of the earlier expressway segment, particularly of the boulevard, but also improve the rider experience and the reliability for the 50,000 riders who use this essential corridor every day. So just wanted to recognize all the hard work on this project from board members, past and present, CAC members, past and present, and I see many of them here in the audience today. I'll just recognize a few: Winston Parsons, Paige Miller, Ben Horn, Richard Hashimoto, of course, from Japantown, Brian Larkin, and I'm sorry if I've missed a few others. We really appreciate the collaborative effort with all the community members, the employers, the merchants, the advocates, SF Transit Riders, the Walk SF, the Bike Coalition, and you're seeing the fruit of that collaboration in the designs that are kicking off today. Of course, this is an essential transit safe reliability and travel time improvement, as Supervisor Brown mentioned in fantastic fashion, with the 75 days a year of travel time savings when you add it all up. But it's also an essential safety project and a way to re-knit the community together. And that did not happen without the hard work, as Ed mentioned, of our staffs collaboratively. We have Liz Bryson and her team. But before that, it was Colin Dental Post from our team. I just want to thank all the hard work that they and many others across the city family have devoted at all the hours in the public outreach, the design phase, and the funding phase. And working with groups like the Japantown Task Force and Fillmore Communities and the merchants, such as everything from the CPMC, which just very happily opened at the intersection of Van Ness and Geary, where we'll have fantastic BRT at the intersection right there, to the smaller businesses and medium-sized businesses in the Japantown area, the Fillmore, Mo Magic, all those folks who will be able to be confident that we have safe and accessible routes to essential transit services for the commuters again, and everybody who relies on this important line. So I just want to thank everyone for your hard work, your collaboration. Mayor Breed, thank you, especially when you were on the Board of Supervisors, for challenging us to really work with the community to ensure that we were listening to them, whether it was the Laguna Stop, whether it was the Webster Street Bridge, whether it was making sure that we were maintaining access for everyone and preserving as much parking as we could. I think we were able to maintain about 95% of the parking along the corridor. I mean, these are really important features that we can ensure a complete project. We were even able to improve north-south bike access along Masonic and integrate the Masonic Safety Project into this project. So really, my hat's off to Ed, your team at SFMTA, working with SF Public Works and all the other agencies and PUC. Now we're going to be able to really upgrade the whole streets infrastructure. On the funding side, the TA was proud to provide about 13 million in local regional funds, combined with the city's GEO bond and other funding in order to deliver this project. And I want to make sure that we gather very soon, I think in 2021, for the ribbon cutting to celebrate this important improvement, but also look ahead to delivering the full project together in the coming years. Thank you so much.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.